Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Watch Soup. I
Yeah.
am your co host, Bobby Legs, and I am joined by Mad Dog, Watchdog, Mad Dog, Watchdog podcast, Clayton. Clayton, how are you? What's going on? Tell
I'm
everybody.
doing well. What's Mad Dog's Russo? What's his
Yeah, Chris Russo.
Chris Russo? Yeah, Chris Mad Dog Russo. Yeah, that
Yeah,
guy's
yeah, yeah.
funny.
Did you have you? I forget. I don't know if we've ever had this discussion. Are you uh, uh, did you ever listen to Howard Stern?
Not religiously.
Okay.
I'm definitely a fan. Just never like tuned in every day. But
So
yeah.
so there was like one of these like guys that used to come on the show. He's like a whack packer. That's what he called like all the
Mm.
weirdo. His name was Sour Shoes, and the guy there was definitely the guy was something off, but he did really good imitations. Like he did a good imitation of Gary, and he did an excellent Mad Dog. And then he developed an excellent Mike Francesa
Oh
because Mike
yes.
Francesa, and so like he would call um other like radio stations as one of those guys, right? And then he got to a point where I remember when Francesa, I mean when I listened to him, he had Sour Shoes on. This is after Francesa and Chris Russo split up like years later, and had Sour Shoes on pretending to be Chris Russo, and it was just like it was spot on. But his Francesa was so good. It was so good. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great.
It's
Both
New
of
York
those
media.
guys are great to do an impression of. I'm sure if you can do it, you can get a lot of mileage out of that if you're a comedian or on
Yeah, for
sports
sure.
radio or something. I just want to make sure my audio sounds good
Yeah,
also, by the way. So just let me know if I'm loud enough, please.
yeah,
Um,
guys, let us know so we can adjust for the podcast purposes.
yes,
For
thank you.
sure.
Yeah, doing well. Had a pretty low key weekend. Did a watch meetup on Saturday night with some local guys here. Trying to think what I saw. Cool Bulgari Octo.
Hmm.
Um, the Tiso Citarol. I'd been interested in checking out one of those. I'm a little muffled. Okay. Maybe I have to turn myself up a little bit. Is that better? Am I too let me know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
you sound good to me. So, I mean, but again, maybe I don't know if it's because of the studio, the StreamYard studio and whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, Tiso Citarol, Citizen Soyosa, my first time checking out
yeah,
one of those.
nice.
Those are
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
But yeah,
Cool,
it's awesome.
awesome,
And then
awesome.
yeah, just low key.
Nice, nice. Yeah, nothing going on here on my end for sure. It's just been dead quiet, except for kids and kid stuff, and we got the beginning of soccer season for the kids, and my wife is coaching the team, and I'm gonna be the assistant coach because I have no idea. I've never played soccer, but she has. So like I'm gonna be Coach Clip Pad, right? I'm gonna have my little
Nice.
clip pad, and then we figured out a strategy. Like I'm just gonna repeat like the last thing she says. You know what I mean? So like if it's like, hey, let's do it, guys, all right, let's do laps, and I'm like, do laps. That's what, that's
That's
what,
what she said.
yeah, that's what I'm just gonna follow up and just say what she
You
said.
just gotta be I want you to be like a hard ass coach. Just
Yeah, what's kind of I can't be I would love to be too, but I mean it's a bunch of 6 year olds. You know what I
right.
mean? So it's like, you know, um,
Another like off topic. I guess it's sort of on topic. I have two friends locally here who are they're husband and wife. They're both coaches. They have
yeah.
a podcast about just
Oh,
the adult side of youth sports,
mhm,
more oriented towards coaches,
yeah.
parents.
I'd love to
Um,
hear that.
I don't even have kids, and I find it interesting because my nephew kind of struggled. He played high school basketball and sort of got frustrated and disinterested because of playing time. And he was really
Yeah,
good, but he just was the shortest kid on the team. But
yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I have a cat face off. Like my two cats are about to like
Uh-oh.
attack each other. So if we hear anything, just don't mind that. Hey, what do you have on wrist tonight?
A watch you so callously roasted last week, the Casio-tron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great watch, man. Great watch. Hey, I'm committing the faux pas of all watch YouTubers. I
Not wearing one.
Yeah, no, I just came back from I had karate class, and then I had to go straight, come home, go upstairs to my son and read him some we're reading some Transformers comics, were the comic book. So, and I just didn't have time to put on a watch. So yeah, let me have it. Let me have it. That
Sometimes you gotta go naked. Just gotta free wrist it, man.
raw dog it, right? Hey
Raw
Keith,
dog.
what's going on? How you doing, Keith? Mr. Finney, how you doing? Good to see you. Maison is here. Ken is checking in from Pittsburgh. Hey, Wayman, good to see you, buddy. Caliber, how you doing? Hobby Bobby, the Joey Votto Mad Dog interview is the best. I don't know that one. I gotta look that up. Hey, gents. Hey, Homer, what's up? Good to see you, bud.
Homer.
Maison's wearing the 50 Fathoms tonight. Ms. Nine's here. Good to see you. Just scrolling down. Let's see here, back and forth. Hey, Justin strapped in. Awesome, awesome. Um, all right. Hey, let's get right at it. I think I'm gonna let you kick it off today.
Okay.
And we're going with the Theo and Harris matching booze with watches. Okay, tell us about this one, Clayton.
The title sounds interesting to me, and then I watched these guys, and I'm sure they're lovely, but then I remember like, oh, this just isn't my favorite channel. But I thought we'd have fun with this
Yeah,
anyway. Yeah, so Christian and Sam. I guess Michael is not with them anymore. I don't watch enough to keep up
I think
on
he's
what's going
gone.
on. He's
I think he's
gone?
gone.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow. First Theo and Harris are gone. I don't even know if they were real people, and now it's Christian and Sam.
yeah.
So they want to talk about the synergy between alcoholic drinks and watch brands. What do
Sure.
they have in common? Fun, cheeky video, just
Yeah.
a fun little exercise. So the first booze they tackle is Titos Vodka. It's a go-to for them, but not a favorite. Christian's description: it's cheap, but not embarrassing. Uh,
Right.
reliable and enjoyed by people who can afford better, but sometimes you just want to slum it, I guess, and drink Tito's vodka. I don't know, like Tito seems to be like a trendy go-to vodka. Like whenever I ask for a drink with vodka, the first one the waiter or waitress or bartender will bring up is Tito's, right?
Oh,
So, and they said for reliable and enjoyed by people who can afford better, but sometimes you just want to go cheap. Affordable. Sam likes to say affordable, not cheap, like we do with watches.
yeah.
Affordable watch, not cheap watch. Swatch was the brand that they thought of, and
Mm.
like Sam said, like Timex, Casio. There are people we know them. Wolfie with his love for the Mayor G Shocks, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He loves
Guys
that
with
watch.
baller collections
Yeah,
who aren't afraid to throw on a G Shock, and no one's going to do anything but respect that, right? So these
absolutely.
guys have baller watches, but hey, they'll put the G Shock on, and yeah, they could drink a very expensive top shelf liquor, but sometimes you know what? I just want a Tito's. And
Yeah.
I thought like it'd be kind of like vodka is sort of a utility player. It goes in so many different drinks, right?
Hmm.
Martini, screwdriver. I mean, a number of them. So I thought like the Explorer, something like that.
Ah,
If we're not comparing like price level, if we're just doing vodka in general, Explorer can be a sport watch. You can almost wear it as a dress watch with a suit. I don't think it would be out of place. Or a watch that I hate the term, but strap monster
yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
just a utility player that can kind of work in a number of different settings. The next one is a particular bourbon I'd never heard of, Colonel Taylor bourbon. Apparently, it has a cult following. People fight over it when you find a bottle.
Huh.
Apparently, it's hard to get at retail.
Wow.
Uh, Christian says the sausage fest that sells for over retail and comes in a nice box. And the first watch that came to mind for him was the Rolex Daytona, right? Um, everybody who has this bourbon likes to let you know how rare it is and that they were able to get one at retail. And he says same goes for Daytona, the owners, right? They'll
Yeah.
let you know real quick. It's like vegans or how do you know somebody's a vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. That's the old joke, right? So uh, it's kind of like that with all the Daytona owners I know aren't like that, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
only know a couple. But um, and this bourbon, Colonel Taylor and the Daytona, were never originally intended to be these exclusive luxury products, right? But
Mm,
that's just what they are now. Like
yeah.
I remember talking to somebody. They used to be Rolex AD years and years ago, and he said nobody wanted Daytonas, and his safe is full of like Newman Daytonas and stuff because they just like, wow, we didn't sell them, so we just kind of bought them for ourselves. But yeah, he's like, this was not a popular watch, and it's crazy how it is now, and you
Yeah.
can't get one, and if you want one on the secondary market, you're you're paying a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good comparison. I don't know about you. If you want to
Yeah.
go these one
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah. I think that's a fair comparison too. I was thinking like almost anything sports watch Rolex could fit into this, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like when
Pepsi.
yeah, exactly. That's the watch I was thinking of. You
Yep.
know, they make a compelling case for the the Daytona instead for sure.
Right. The next they look at just not one beer or liquor in particular, but IPAs in general.
Yeah.
Uh, they're really bitter. I don't like them. I'll drink them, but I'm not a big fan. So Christian's description here for IPA: annoying pseudo intellectual who used to be thin and lived in Brooklyn, but now lives in the suburbs and they're
Yeah.
getting fat, right? And also one thing I realized, and I think they mentioned it, and one thing I've realized about IPA drinkers is they love to explain the nuances between a hazy IPA, a
Yeah.
juicy IPA, a New England IPA, whatever it is. And they compare that to Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko owners love to give you a dissertation on how great the brand is, i.e., our friend Sanjay, right? How wonderful Spring Drive is, and it makes most of us roll our eyes. And that's what IPA drinkers, and also I think like Grand Seiko fans, and really like no matter what brand you're a major fan of, if you tell somebody you don't like IPAs, like we have these friends that are a couple, they are like IPA, that's all they drink. They're
Okay.
obsessed, and they like make fun of me that I don't like them. And I feel like Grand Seiko owner might, if you say one negative thing about Grand Seiko, they might really let you have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess I agree with that description as well.
Yeah, yes, spot on, man. Spot on for sure. And I'll mention this now, although it probably doesn't fit into this particular one. Interesting, and I don't know, we could just dissect this, but the Miller Lite, they were drinking Miller Lite.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
Anyway, let's talk about that afterwards because I feel like first of all they were drunk, or at least Theo was. I mean, Christian.
yeah.
And I think he was probably feel like he was down the shore, the Jersey Shore. I don't know. I got that vibe because
I
that's where
never
I drink
like
my Miller Lights in the Jersey Shore.
these guys don't ever like. I'm surprised I even picked this video. I kind of like, oh, a fun, try to go like more fun, like different,
Yeah.
lighthearted videos. And I was like, oh, I'll pick this one. Then I like, oh, forget why these guys. But well, the next one they cover is Bud Light. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to go, they didn't go too far into it. We all kind of know what happened with Bud Light,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As Christian put it, they got out of their lane a little bit,
Yeah.
and we all know
Hmm.
what happened. As a business owner, I think it was very curious.
Yeah.
All political and
Hmm.
whatever else opinions aside, it's always interesting when a brand like knowingly could alienate 50% of their market.
Hmm. Hmm.
But anyway, and so the Bud Light, way out of its lane to no obvious benefit, and a watch brand that did that was Patek Philippe with the Tiffany Nautilus. So different than anything they've ever done. Loud, like hype watch status, sort of craps all over, undermines the history of this great high horology brand. And it's just, it's even like John Mayer doesn't like to admit that he owns one. Just way out of their lane, stepped way out of their lane with no obvious benefit, and not befitting a brand like Patek. He says AP can do Marvel. That's kind of not very good, but they're going to do it. But Patek should be above that.
Yeah, yeah, and it was interesting that he brought up the AP because like that to me really really confused me why AP went with the Marvel kind of like collaboration with those Royal Oaks, even more so like okay I know Patek is above this, but like I don't know the,
Those are worse than this, in my opinion.
yeah, exactly. I,
Yeah,
I I think so. Like it's not like it's just a colored dial, right? It's the Tiffany blue dial, right? And it got hyped up, and the way they hyped it up was one thing, but like to me, that's not like okay, that happened. And I don't think about it, but I keep on thinking about. The curious development of those Marvel. collaborations with AP. Like, why would they do that? Like, it
Right.
just doesn't make sense to me at all. And I've heard some explanations and none of it. So, like, for me, that was far more egregious, getting out of your lane,
I agree.
than Paddock.
I agree. Yeah, this watch, I mean, the color is hypey and trendy and everything, but I don't know. I didn't think it was that far
Right.
left to center, but anyway, they don't like it. Um,
I'm gonna
next
go. I'm
was
gonna go off camera real quick, but I'm listening. I just gotta let the cat
okay.
out.
Okay. Break up the fight.
Yeah.
So next is Dewar's Cuddy Sark. Blue collar, mass produced, working class drinks. It's a problematic drunk and will probably eventually be an accessory to murder. Invicta was the brand that they talked about here, basically saying all Invicta owners are capable of murder. I don't know about that,
Right.
but um, I have met some people who think that Invicta really is like kind of high end luxury, and of course, I don't say anything. I'm just that's cool. If a watch means that much to you, no matter what the price point is, I think that's awesome. If it makes you happy, who am I to poop in your cereal? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not pooping in anybody's cereal here with
Right.
this. Yeah.
I appreciate that about you. One of my favorite things about you. And then there was a fancy champagne Voive Clicquot, which I've never heard of and probably just butchered. Um, it attempts to be elegant, but it's less luxurious than it used to be, and now absurdly priced and mass market. And he compared it to Cartier. Over the
Mhm.
last 20 years, Cartier used to be kind of a boutique, like not so
Yeah.
present in the marketplace. And now they have just expanded with all the growth. They're the number two selling Swiss watch brand. The price point of Cartier and this champagne have gone up within the last, I guess he said 5 years for that champagne. It's just shot up. And in the last like 20 years for Cartier. And then the last one was, I don't know, kind of silly White Claw and Chanel. He thinks both should be reserved for the ladies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think some men are drawn to that new Chanel. I can't think of the model right now, but I wouldn't. I've tried a sip of White Claw once, and it's not for me. But
Yeah.
if a guy drinks it
Yeah.
might tease him a little, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Zima, right?
Right.
Yeah. Remember that Zima?
Zima.
It's so weak
Oh
Zima.
yeah. Zima, and then like the obsession with ice beers in the 90s. Those are the
Oh
two
yeah.
things.
I
Ice
remember
House, Bud
Ice Hot,
Ice. I
Bud
don't even
Ice.
know what ice beer was, but it
No,
was a big
no.
trend back
It,
then.
it it totally was. It totally was. And I remember just getting cases of that,
Yeah.
like in college.
Ice House.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was like a bar. There's several bars in college, but like there's a bar like every Wednesday for like a semester, um, between like 5 and 8. It was like dollar pitchers of Ice House,
Oh.
and like you would just like get annihilated for like
Oh my
five
God.
bucks,
Yeah.
and then like you had like a bunch of other guys, like like you have four guys between 20 bucks, with 20 bucks, that's 20 pitchers, man, and we just like walk out of there like just stupid, like falling, So like they had to stop doing it after a while, but I mean like for a good like semester, that's what they did, and it worked. I mean we'd go there, and then we'd go there other nights. You know what I mean? Like, we ended up like, it was like our place that we would go to. But madness. Anyway, I want to go back. I want to go back to the Miller Lite thing because, like, not to poo-poo on Miller Lite. I mean, I drank Miller Lite when I was, probably a Christian's age. But I was surprised that he was drinking Miller Lite.
Yeah.
Because like I figure like I think he tries to make himself more sophisticated, or presents himself as maybe he is, but he definitely wants that perception, right? Or I feel like that's like how he wants people to perceive him. So when I see him in the light, I'm like, oh, dude, this guy's in Belmar right now, and like like at the back of a beach house, and just getting blasted with his friends and playing beer pong. You know what I mean? And like,
Right.
good for him, man. Like, I hope he got loaded. I hope he goes and he hooks up. He goes to Bar A and Belmar, or one of those DJs. I'm naming Jersey bars. And just like hooks up, like stupid hookup in a corner. You know what I mean? Like I just hope he does it.
He
You know what
dresses
I mean?
odd too, so I imagine him in some like goofy outfit, and like I think he has like a retro vibe that he likes too, because he likes.
Yeah.
I think he likes vintage watches as well, and I think he likes to dress kind of in a quirky vintage way as
Or,
well.
or or like maybe like when he goes to the bar, he wears like like a short sleeve like little 3-button polo shirt with like obviously he definitely rocks no t-shirt underneath. He's got like
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
whatever little hair comes out, and
And
he's
you
got
know he
like
weighs like 95 pounds too.
yeah,
Like a
yeah,
tall
and
guy.
and
Yeah.
he's got like pink khaki shorts
Yeah.
and like shoes with no socks. You
Right.
know what I mean? And just like just getting loaded, man. It's just like and then just like
Well, I think
cutting
sometimes like
checks.
people with money and maybe beer is like beneath them almost.
Yeah.
So when they like fancy a beer, they have just Miller Lite or something simple like Bud
Yeah.
Light or something. Whereas more like beer enthusiasts, it's kind of like watch enthusiasts, right?
Yeah.
The watches the general public wear we necessarily wouldn't wear. So I'm a bit of a beer enthusiast, so yeah, I like craft brews
Mm,
and all that kind of stuff. Whereas somebody who's not that into it won't even like care to seek that stuff out,
yeah.
really.
I don't know. I think, yeah, and I get that, but I think when you're down the shore, that's
Yeah,
what we call it in the East Coast. When you go down the shore, like you just drink like the cheapest beer, and you just like you play beer pong, or maybe you
right.
don't. Maybe normal people don't do that. That's what we did. And I had a beach house 2 years in a row with a
Wow.
bunch of my friends. Right, we rented a house. I went to the beach like once in those 2 years, and we
Wow.
lived a half a block away from the
Oh,
beach.
geez. It's
It was just a
annoying to go to
party
the
weekend.
beach. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you get sand and everywhere. Who wants to do
Right.
that?
People. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I would
yeah.
stay at the house too.
Oh man, I'm going down memory lane. Anyway, we should probably move on to the next topic. But let's say hello to hey, KR Joy's here. Hey, Bruno's here as well. Um, Belmar, LOL. Yeah, yeah, Belmar, man. Okay. Well, awesome wrap up on that one, Clayton. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. You do such a great job. And let's move on to the other video tonight. Britt Pearce, 9 watch brands you probably don't know. Britt is a machine. She's like 20 months pregnant. Like she's about to like give birth any
I think
second
she
now.
did. I think she
Oh,
pre-did all these videos so she
okay.
could take the first couple months of having a newborn off. So I
Oh,
think these are all
okay. Well,
pre-recorded,
well,
if
good
I
for her.
remember
Good for her.
correctly.
I mean, she definitely plans things out a lot better than I do for sure. Um, anyway, 9 watch brands that you probably don't know. She was working on a review for a Leica ZM 1111. Great looking watch. Um, when you think of Leica, you think of cameras, right? Of course,
Mhm.
but they make some watches, and that watch is just is excellent looking. I love the way it looks, and it's made in Germany, of course. But it made her think of all the watches that she loves that not enough people she feels talks about, right? So she's got like brands that she goes over. First one is Habring. Habring. She's like, this might be the most adorable watch brand in the whole world, right? 200 in 2004, it was created by husband and wife team Maria and Richard Harbring. And she loves Britt loves how like on the website they have like a little like a little comic cartoon about how they got together and how they decided to start the brand. And while their love story is adorable, their watches are not. They're serious watches, she says. She goes a little back history on Richard his experience working at IWC, and mentioned he was instrumental in developing their double chrono, the Doppler chrono, but Doppler being the German word for double. And she mentions that that it's one of the smaller brands making 50 watches a year, and I don't know. I think that's true. I think they do a couple hundred.
Yeah, I
But
thought that
anyway,
was low.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do a couple hundred a year, but whatever. Anyway, small watch brand. I know most of us here in the chat and you know who Harbring is. I've owned a Harbring before. Just a great piece, and but maybe not so much common for your average. watch enthusiast who's maybe just starting out, or somebody who doesn't even know anything about watches, harboring,
Yeah.
definitely flies under the radar. Another one that flies under the radar is Laurent Ferrier. She loves Laurent Ferrier. Why? Because he designs amazing pieces and makes around 300 a year. She loves that Grand Sport tourbillon, which is like that sports watch that has the tourbillon in on the back of the case, so it's not
Yeah,
showcased
that's
in the
cool.
front. She thought that was badass, and the classic silver moon. She's like, Elon Perry, he's the coolest watchmaker out there. He came in third place in one of these like car races behind Paul Newman, the Le Mans, I think it was, back in the day. So not only is he a watchmaker, he's a race car driver, or was a race car driver. So
Yeah,
so
I didn't know that.
yeah, neither
Yeah.
did I. That's so very, very cool. Third, SUF, Stefan Sarpaneva's his side project, or his more affordable
Yeah.
arm of his watches. She loves it. She's like, it's fantastic and sporty watches that are on the pricey end, but it's something a little bit different in their designs. Except for her favorite is the 180, which is a field watch, which is not necessarily any kind of interesting per se. Like it's just a good design, good classic design of a field watch, but from a great watchmaker.
I've
Um,
checked one out in person, actually. My local watch buddy
oh,
has the blue one. Yeah,
yeah,
very
yeah,
nice. I wouldn't say it was anything special,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
was
yeah.
nice. It was just solid watch. But yeah, I wasn't wowed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
field watches. I think the hallmark of a field watch is that it's nothing
Right.
design wise that's
Right.
gonna impress you, right? It's solid, it's predictable. It's a field watch, right?
Yep.
I would definitely, if I had my choice, I'd go Vertex. I mean,
Yeah.
those watches are unbelievable field
Yeah.
watches. If you're looking at something that's similar in price point, I think the SUF may be still a bit slightly higher than the Vertex.
I think I
Um,
checked the one you owned before. I
mhm.
another friend who had one of those, and yeah, I was really impressed with that Vertex.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I
Very, very
totally took
legible.
that over the SUF. No
Yeah,
question.
me too. But not to knock SUF, but I
Right.
mean that's just. Number four is Anardane. She can't believe she hasn't had an Anardane on the channel for review. It's probably because they're hard to get. Probably, especially now.
Waiting list
Mechanical
till
watches,
2029, is it?
yeah, something like that, right? Mechanical watches, minimal dials, and minimal design and enamel dials. They're based out of Glasgow, and she just likes the different sizes, right? There's a size for everyone with those. I've had a couple in for review. Those dials, they're amazing. The enamel dials. I understand that there's a whole process behind it, and sometimes batches just don't pass quality control, right? And so our good friend Chaz, he's had some issues. He had ordered one, and then they kind of like um, I think they returned his money because like the batch that he was that his watches was
Crazy.
like it didn't work out. But then like somehow they were able to produce that same kind of color or whatever, but they upped the price. So a little shady there maybe,
Huh.
but anyway, still good watches. Number five, staying with the United Kingdom in that area, going down to England is Garrick English watchmaker, classic designs, mostly finished in house. They create also, she said, 50 watches a year. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
she's
don't
any
know.
designer. Maybe they
Yeah.
are. Anyway,
She could say anything and oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
not sure.
right, right.
Seems
Um,
low, but
yeah, seems low, right? But I mean, they do to order, right? Anyway, a lot of great guilloche on those watches, on some of those, and great brand. Um, the next is a Crivia and Regepi,
yeah.
which um, she had a little issues pronouncing it, and I can't really blame her.
I felt better about my pronunciations after watching this video, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
What
they're
is it?
making
Rex Heppy.
right. I'm making fewer than 30 watches. I can believe that. Conceived, designed, and built in-house, right? Represents um, watchmaking excellence, she feels, and the future of traditional watchmaking. So high
Hmm.
praise from Brett. Number 7, Hajime Asioka, sorry, Asayoka. She calls it,
Asaoki?
yeah, yeah,
Asaoka? Yeah.
yeah, classical but uniquely Japanese. That's what she likes about them. Very, very expensive. He does have a sub brand called Corona Tokyo. So if you're interested in that, and a more affordable, and this is her number 8 pick, is Corona Tokyo. And finally, Simon Brett, the guy's on fire. I think he won a GPHG award. Independent that represent the future. She another one that represents the future of watchmaking. The pricing on his watch, comparatively to other independent watchmakers, not high, although like 50K a piece. But it's just like impossible to get these watches.
Right.
So these batches have been sold out for a while, and yeah. So interesting picks here. You know, I guess because like you and I, we're mostly in the know. We've heard of all these guys, but I can imagine that a lot of people who are, she strikes me as her channel as being attracting a lot of newer collectors and
Yes.
enthusiasts. So just a good video to inform them
She has a big audience, so
yeah,
for her to mention some of these brands is just
yeah,
it's good for them.
yeah.
Probably will.
Any brands come to mind when you think about, like, brands that maybe most people haven't heard of that you would
Yeah, I mean, I always talk about the even though it's kind of a dead brand, that Vogard I have, just
Mhm,
like it, yeah, George Bamford had a podcast where he talked about weird watches, and that's where I discovered that. So anytime these people with, you know, a large audience talk about these watches that are sort of either unknown, like the ones Britt talked about, or kind of lost to history, like
mhm,
Vogard in a way. Yeah, it's really cool. Trying to think if I can think of a brand that not too many people know about. I think most of them were covered, like the ones I've gotten to check out
yeah,
anyway. SUF.
yeah.
Trying to think if there's any
She's
other
she's mentioning a
independent
lot of
brands.
she's mentioning a lot of like independent watchmakers, so you could always throw in like a Kadoke,
Right.
like a Benzinger in
Yep.
German, right? Of course, I'm gonna pick
Yep.
German. But there's a lot of these independent guys out there that I feel like you're more intermediate collector and
Yep.
enthusiast would
Sartori
probably.
Billard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
to start hearing about this Philippe Colic, like a lot of these small, nuanced, collectors.
Can I say
Um,
something? I don't know if it's controversial. A lot of these watches look the same to me.
mhm.
And I'm not. I guess I'm not the. I respect them and I think they're
Yeah,
beautiful, but
yeah,
I guess I'm just not the target
yeah,
audience
yeah.
for
I
them.
could see that. I mean,
They all
like
look
a
like
lot.
brigades to me.
Yeah, a lot of them that little nameplate with their
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think I see where you're coming from. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think where a lot of the magic happens not necessarily with the design, but with the finishing,
Right. Yep,
of course.
yep.
And
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking but they just I guess I sort of like lose track because they all sort of like it just to me they blur into just one watch. So
mhm,
they're not like yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to keep track. It's not really something I pay that close attention to
yeah,
also. So but yeah, oh yeah, but it's all done by hand
yeah,
also in most of these cases. So
right. Let's see what the chat says. Oh, Homer, he loves that Vertex.
yeah.
Hobby Bobby, Anodine is overrated, but nice enough. Just get a Nomos if you like that look. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I think the attraction is the enamel, and how allegedly how difficult it is to make these enamel dials. I think early on, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when you can get like an Anardane for like $1,300, an Anardane one with enamel dial, that was the time. Now with their pricing going up and up and up, it's Hobby Lobby, you're right. Now I feel like they're an overrated brand. But like, I think a lot of the stuff they got, I mean, they got to fix whatever. I mean, I understand it's hard. I understand it's hard to make these enamel dolls, but it just seems like the weight is just a little silly. It's
Well,
a little
are they?
much.
Yeah, I guess you have to ask yourself. Like part of the ordering a watch from some of these independent makers, it's they're making your watch. That's a really cool thing. Like the only watch this person is working on right now is my watch. I think
Mm,
that's
mhm.
if you know if that is what means a lot to you in this hobby, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, is an anordain worth waiting 5 years for? I'm
Especially
not
putting
so
a
sure.
deposit down, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
How about we coming back again? A question Brit even talk my about some of these watches, like if you know about an Acrivia or a Simon Brett, who cares? What are you even going to do with that information?
Because you probably can't get one right for a
Yeah.
while anyway
Yeah.
on a lot of these brands. You have to look secondary market. I don't know how
Yeah.
these watches do on the secondary market.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I got to tell you, just from a topic standpoint, um, and how she went about, picking the brands. It's so hard to come up with topics and watch it
Oh,
when you're making videos.
yeah.
Like, it's all been done all over again. So like, maybe this was part of like, she had this like in the bag somewhere of ideas, and like, if she was running
She
out, she's
also
got to
needed to stockpile them so she
stockpile
could
both.
be a mom for the first few months,
Yeah.
of, being a mom, so
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, like a lot of these videos, it's been very popular, and you probably have noticed, and it's been going on for a while now. Like, they're all doing lists, right?
yes.
Teddy Baldassar's doing lists. The best affordable divers under $1,000. They're all doing
Andrew
lists.
Morgan, I think that's all he does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and that seems to be working. Hey, don't be surprised. I'm going to be putting out list videos too, because you just run out of ideas, man, and
yeah,
watches to review.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's
Um,
challenging. Getting back into the flow of the podcast again, just thinking about stuff, it's like, "Oh,
oh yeah.
I can see why I quit sometimes." I just, the well runs dry.
Yeah, dude, that's why like my regular stream on Bobby Leg's channel, like it's brutal sometimes, because like I have no idea. I'm fresh out of ideas. You know what I
Well, the
mean? So
chat is always, so
yeah,
good
yeah,
about
we'll make fun of
steering the
Dib.
ship, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we'll make fun
yeah,
of
and
Dib a
then
little
Dib
bit.
comes on and
Yeah, yeah. He insults somebody,
insults a brand or a
or a
he's actually
person.
very fair, and it might come off as insulting, but they're
Yeah,
always very good points. I don't think he's,
yeah,
intentionally malicious, but no, he has good points. He's
yeah,
just being honest,
yeah.
which is refreshing on YouTube.
Um, More people now aware of watches that you can't really get. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good point, Mike. Um, And Caliber agrees. Definitely, definitely. No, most.
Going
Yeah,
back to last week's video, of Jenny L said, "Be careful about how you approach somebody if you see that they're wearing a nice watch." So
yeah.
I had a doctor's appointment today, and the doctor was wearing a Black Bay 58, and I actually said, "Ah, nice Black Bay 58." Then yeah, it turns out I think he's cooled on watches a little bit, but he has his dad's Explorer,
Oh, nice.
or maybe his grandfather's Explorer.
Ooh, even
His
nicer.
dad had a Dornbluth. That's right. His dad is a
Oh,
collector.
cool.
His dad had a
All right.
Dornbluth. He has a what else does he have? He has an old Seamaster. He has a Nomos. Yeah, so he has a nice little collection. But yeah, he's like, I'm really. He said he's bad at noticing people's watches. Like he's like, you picked this out right away. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, that was an
Yeah,
obvious one.
yeah, yeah. That's an easy design. Maison, 5 watch brands that I thought at random for no reason. Thank you. That's gonna be one of my next videos.
Right.
I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna catch
10
myself.
watch brands.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna catch myself by surprise one day, and be like, "Oh, 5 brands right now, Bobby Legs, think of it." And then I'm just gonna like file it through, and then I'm just gonna write them down, and then I'm gonna make a video. Great idea, Maison. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, dude, where I live, man, there's no watch spotting. I mean, like nobody wears anything. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's all like G Shocks, which is great. That's fine. Um, yeah, and Apple watches, right? And Fitbits, and it's just like, oh man, I want to be in a metropolis where I can just like,
I get pretty lucky. We went to that Axe bar, and the kid, I may have mentioned it. The kid was wearing like the A168 Casio, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
complimented on it. I complimented him on it, and we talked for a little while about it. So
yeah,
yeah, I guess I get pretty lucky. I don't really do anything, but yeah, once in a while. I talked to a kid who was wearing a PRX last year, I think, and he he really liked it and thought he might have gotten the wrong color, but otherwise he really likes the watch. And
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
younger. These are all like younger people. So
yeah, yeah.
this doctor was younger for sure.
I even when I see somebody, which is rare, that has like a watch, and I'm comfortable enough to say something, even though I don't know if they're comfortable. Like the conversation just never goes anywhere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I guess I'm trying to find like a kindred spirit where I live in regards to watch collecting, and it's just like there's no dice. And I'm sure there's probably people who are, and maybe they're just like very low key about it. Just like I feel like everybody around me has like stockpiles of gold, even though that may not be true. But I just feel like the people around me, this I don't know, just a bunch of hillbillies with the gold in their
Right. Yeah.
nuts. Yeah.
I last year I think I went to what did I get? I got a crown, I think. So I went to like a specialized dentist and we were talking about watches. I was wearing my Seiko Samurai. It's orange, and I think he commented on it. We talking about watches. I was telling him about my Moser. I didn't have my phone on me, and he like really wanted to see a picture of it. So when my appointment was over, he's like, "Can you go out to your phone, your car, and get your phone and show me a picture of that Moser? I'm really interested in that brand." And he knew the brand, so yeah, maybe he went out and bought a Moser.
Oh yeah, that would have been awesome if you were responsible for that. Bruno saying, Bobby, here's an idea. Why don't you do what Thomas Burnett used to do? Have a chat member send you pics of their watch collection and have him on your channel. I used to do that too. I used to
Uh,
do,
yeah,
yeah, like a few years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. I guess when we were in lockdown. Um,
I was on one.
you were,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
right, that's right. Um, and we used to do that. Maybe we need to bring that
That
back.
video actually randomly came up. I think I searched you to like put a link on the podcast or something, and then
Yeah,
that video came up. Like, oh gosh,
yeah.
yeah, 4 years ago,
Homer,
2020.
We did
Yep,
Homer.
yep.
We did you. Um, Rick. Um,
Our old friend Brad, I think, also.
yeah, and oh, the guy from Wisconsin. Um, that used to live in Michigan, or that you met up with
Craig.
Craig.
Yep,
Craig.
yep.
Craig.
And his wife too, right?
No, no. I think Random Rob did Craig and his wife.
Okay, I had them on my podcast.
Oh, that's what you had
Yeah,
them in your
yeah.
podcast. That's what it was. That's what it was. I think no, I think it was just Craig and a whole bunch of other people that's escaped because it's my memory shot and it's like 3 or 4 years ago. But that'd be fun maybe once in a while to do. Hobby Bobby, I think you'll actually handle if you've actually handled it and you've seen the quality of the vitreous enamel dials and Nomos just doesn't compare. Okay, all right, we got some fisticuffs here in regards to.
I've never handled an anordain. I would like to.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've had the Anodine 1 and 2. The enamel dial, like it's so nice. It's so nice, right? Now, I think the rest of the watch, um, depending on which Nomos you pick, I think the Nomos can edge that out. But other than that, like the dial itself, I mean, enamel has that look, right?
Right.
As I said, saw a Black Bay 41 Burgundy Jubilee shopping with family yesterday. Made a brief comment. All right,
How'd that go down?
how'd that go? Yeah, how did that go down? You're
I
still
like to
alive.
I like to do it. Like you get a vibe. I remember I saw like a grouchy guy at a coffee shop and he was like yelling at the barista, but he was wearing a small seconds Omega Aquaterra. And I did not feel like it would have gone over well if I said, "Oh, hey, I see you're wearing an Aquaterra." Like you got to pick your spots, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but
But
maybe that would have just lightened the mood, though. Maybe that would have like
yeah,
stopped him from.
it's so funny
Yeah.
because the doctor today, he came in and we were talking, and he asked me what I did for a living, like right away, and I told him what I do, and he had heard of my business, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to like get sidetracked about," because I hadn't even told him what was going on, and and I said, "Oh, it's okay. If you didn't come up with that, I was going to ask you about your Black Bay 58 next." So I would have derailed the conversation. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it was you first.
The interns was in. Yes, I did do a video. I did a video on the interns Nomos and Zin collection, but not a live stream like Thomas used to do. And yeah, I mean Thomas and when he was part of the punters group,
Yep.
right? With Blue Shirt Buddha. Remember Blue Shirt Buddha?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I went on their stream and did a discussion on the collection. Man, those were marathons though, Thomas. A couple hours on the stream.
Long
They're
ones.
great. It's great, but man, there were marathons, man, for sure.
With
Um,
Thomas and Blue Shirt, I remember like being in the chat on a couple of those, and from then on, they were anytime I was in a chat with them, it's kind of like being in a chat with Chaz, just makes you feel so welcome.
yeah,
And Blue Shirt would he didn't know me, but he would always say, "Oh, hi, Clay," even if I
yep,
saw him in like Tim Mosso's live stream or something.
yeah.
So yes, rest in peace. Rest
Yeah,
in
no,
peace.
Blue Shirt. Just one more thing on Blue Shirt. Blue Shirt was always very encouraging,
Yeah.
especially when I started out. He would always comment on my videos, and when I did streams, he was always there. He was just such a great guy that way. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
very supportive. It was nice to like that I could bank on having a comment from Blue Shirt, and you know what I mean, and feel his positiveness.
Yep.
I saw someone wearing a Kermit or ceramic down the pub about 3 weeks ago. Didn't ask him about it though. Yeah, that's hey, we're in the pub. Maybe sometimes that's not the good spot to do it.
Yeah, you never know. It depends on if they're being overserved or not, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
There's what's the digital watches that the Shark um ah, I can't think of it right now. They're like surfing. They're sold at like surf shops, I think. But there's a girl who works at this coffee shop I go to a lot that wears one of those, and I haven't
Oh,
commented yet, but I might next time. Freestyle or they're sort of an enthusiast watch, I think, but they
okay.
sell them at like surf shops. I can't think of it right now, but that's sort of a almost like a watch geek digital watch. So I'm wondering if she is into watches, but
Yeah,
she may have
maybe.
just been gifted it. Who knows?
Anardane's enamel doll always felt like a lollipop-like material with a secondary flavor printed on it. Oof, man, what a statement.
Does that mean it makes you hungry? Is that a compliment?
Felt like a lollipop-like material with a secondary flavor printed on it. I think he's trying to. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying there, man. I don't know what you're saying.
That's deep.
Yeah, it's way too deep. Way too deep for my understanding.
Some
Um,
watches do have made me hungry before, like the No Time to Die actually reminded me of like chocolate custard, just the way like because it's like a chocolate brown dial, and then
yeah,
the indices are like vanilla. They look
yeah.
so I'm always looking for an excuse to eat chocolate
Man,
anyway. So
man, I never think of food when I look at a watch. But I'll tell you what. There are times, or it's almost like a deja vu when I'm in a spot and I think of a watch. For example, I there is a rocking chair in my daughter's room now. Before it used to be my son's room. Before my daughter was more, it was like the nursery, right? Like that's where we just had the crib. And this was early on when my wife wasn't my girl my daughter was not born yet, but my son I still had to rock him to sleep, right? And like while he was like on me, like I would like scroll, and this is like really early on and me getting back into collecting, and so he liked trains, and I was looking at a lot of watches by Ball. Right,
oh
because
yeah,
of the whole, and so now every time I sit on that chair, I think of Ball watches, um, because of the whole train connection. My son liking trains when he was really young, and the connection with ball and
all
trains.
had such a cool history and story. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
really do.
cool backstory on it. Man, I just don't like the bracelets. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know if that's changed, but I just don't not
but the
just not for you.
watches feel very high quality. My friend John let me use his what's just the standard three-hander I can't think of names right now, but that's the one I got to try, and yeah, I was really impressed. The bracelet, was a no-go, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Bruce was such a stalwart enthusiast and so friendly, like Clayton and Rob mentioned. The good old days were great memories. At least
Yeah.
we still recorded for us to do. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Um, Bruno ID guy started out his live streams. Oh my God, do you remember that?
Yep.
Do you remember that?
You know what is so
24
weird? You ever, like, fall asleep to YouTube? Like,
Yeah.
I do that, like, I'll watch, like, videos that are made today,
Hmm.
and it'll autoplay, and I get his live streams from, like, 3 years ago. For whatever reason, those are the things that always come up, and I'm like, "What about the algorithm sends me three-year-old ID guy live streams?" It's no without fail every single night.
Yeah. Yeah. When my wife, when she tutors at night, sometimes she'll tutor kids from other time zones in the West. So she'll go on to like 11 or 12 o'clock. So like I'll go to bed like around 10, and I like watching wristwatch revival.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's my go-to to kind of want to fall asleep,
Yep.
because like the episodes are like 40 or 50 minutes long, and I still like watching. I don't do it to make myself go to sleep. I don't find them boring at all. But it's just a nice. It's like a book, like reading a book before
Oh,
bed,
yeah.
kind of for me.
I actually have not watched one of his videos in a while. I know he's released I think I'm a few behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About how I meant that literally like a large gobstopper as you would like. It
Yeah.
literally is like, all right.
Everlasting gobstoppers.
Maison misses those ID guy streams. So yeah, the Saturday, 5 till 10 sometimes. Um, yep, Marshall, yep, from Wristwatch
Marshall,
Revival.
yep.
Um, Keith says, I just watched a Wristwatch Revival for the first time and was amazed. Yeah, he's really good, self-taught, right? I mean, I think he
Yep.
has like some sort of engineering background or something like that. There's something that he has that. And so it didn't come out of the blue where he just started tinkering with watches. But then he has that background and then he started tinkering with watches. And yeah, really, really cool guy. Max from the Watch Crunch did like a podcast with him and a video about 2 years ago. And it was good to see like a face to the voice,
Yeah.
and it was a really good podcast, a really good video.
Grey NATO guys had him on too.
Yeah,
James and Jason, they had him on.
yeah. Well, all right, man. You
Yeah,
know,
hey, we did a little bonus. I like
did a
it.
little bonus, a little chat at the end. Hey, I like that too. We could do that.
Yeah.
We could do that. Anyway, chat. Thank you so much for being here and
Yeah.
giving me some ideas for the next one. Clayton, what's going on? So we're gonna you post these every
This will
Wednesday,
go
Thursday.
out tomorrow when yeah, we'll
Yeah,
use your
Wednesday.
audio
Yep.
and then Friday will be another Watchdog podcast. This will go out tomorrow so you can listen to it in podcast form as well. So, yeah, got a good amount of downloads actually. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Watch Soup for everyone. All right, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you Sunday. Next Sunday, right?
Well, then, so yes, it's Labor Day weekend, but we could
Oh,
still do
yeah,
it. I
right,
don't care.
right, right. Oh,
But
we should probably talk about maybe skipping this one because it's Labor Day weekend, right?
then the first Sunday of the NFL season, the Lions play Sunday night, so
Oh,
I'm out. So got to be Monday again.
okay. Okay, so we'll do Monday the 9th.
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
all right, guys.
I can't miss the Lions on Sunday night.
No, no, I hear you. I hear you. Okay, guys. So we'll take a week off next week, and we'll see you guys on Monday night. Have a great one.
Take care,
Take care.
guys.